Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new Skeleton Crew spoiler review here in Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg. We're talking about episode 4, Can't Say I Remember, No Ad Atten. I'm Max Bird. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie and TV show reviews, box office show every Tuesday. I also do movie franchise rankings and out of theater reactions. If you like any one of those things, please consider subscribing and ringing that bell. If you want to follow me on social media, I do instant reactions. I also post my out of theater reactions on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. You can find those down in the description down below. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Skeleton Crew? We're at the halfway point. Are you liking the show? Not liking the show? Any bold predictions for the final 4 episodes of the show? Let me know in the comment section. Also, please, guys, hit the thumbs up button down below. So, overall, I'll come out and say I loved this episode, and this was my favorite episode of the series. Now, it did help that this was basically a Neil episode, who is one of my favorite Star Wars characters in years. Um, but I think that this show is really humming right now. Something that you can tell between the difference between the Acolyte and this show is the Acolyte pitched this murder mystery from the Sith perspective, and it was totally not what we got. This time around, what they delivered it was we kept being told Goonies in space, and actually, this is exactly what this show is and a lot more. This show could have really fallen apart because the 4 leads, and Jude Law is in the show a lot, but he is far from being the lead of the show. The lead characters are the 4 kids. They carry the show. And that's really hard to get right. As you can tell, a lot of franchises, studios, shows get wrong is casting the right child actors. And Star Wars, my opinion, has never been really that strong in casting child acting, but they really went 4 for 4 on this show. And this is, again, some people say this is the time where Star Wars shows start to fade out halfway through. But I thought this was an excellent episode because I got nervous at the beginning of the episode because one, I was like, this can't just be ad and it'd be too easy to come back here. But two, are we just going to turn into adventure of the week type show, like kind of what Mandalorian turned into? And yes, this was kind of adventure of the week, but the plot got moved forward a lot here. It was not just adventure of the week and move on. A lot happened in this episode. As we're not on Anatin, we're in clearly one of the other planets, and it seems like these planets that were created seem like social experiments by someone. Obviously, it's seeming like it will be a pretty major reveal who the person overseeing all of this is. I don't know if it'll be someone on the show who we've met already or a known Star Wars character. I'm very fascinated. There's a couple, what's funny? This show definitely has some intensity to it, but also it's very adorable, cute. Obviously helps with having Neil, especially be the center focus of this episode. But there are a lot of really interesting mysteries going on. We learned in this episode that obviously it seems like SM33's voiced once again wonderfully by Nick Frost, has something programmed why he keeps saying can't say I remember no at Atten. He keeps saying it over and over again, but he keeps slipping in and out where he sometimes will remember things, sometimes he will not. We learned towards the end of the episode that he was actually one with his old captain sliced the coordinates to Atten. All the other planets have their coordinates on that thing that those people take them to at the end of the episode. And here, we learned that he was the one who actually, now we also don't know, not just do we not know who's kind of overseeing all these plants and why they even created the social experiment, we also don't know who this other captain is. Are they the same person? Are they different people? These are interesting mysteries that keep me guessing and wanting more out of the show, which is a good thing with a TV show. You want to keep wanting more each and every week, especially if you're a weekly a series like this show is. But still, it's honestly just the perfect word to describe the show is delightful. You have Neil, who, again, he's one of my favorite. The way that people freak out, basically, love the character of Grogu. That's kind of me now with Neil. I think he's a saint. What a character! What a great person! Obviously, a great person that Neil is because Neil he gives the kids the food. He's very nervous about everything. Like I liked when the new character who was kind of his fling for the episode, Hannah, who was a really good character played by Hala Finley, who did a very good job when she was like, I'll go, he seems kind of nervous and he goes, I'm terrified. They're kind of discussing how, she lives in a world full of war where they eat, sleep, and breathe war and fighting other people. Well, Neil grew up on a planet where there was no war. And Neil keeps saying that the thing I would do was apologize. It was a really adorable scene. Um, but people just don't. I think this is a really good message as well. People just don't talk to each other anymore. They just assume the worst and do the worst to each other. And yes, does Neil live in a yes, very unrealistic utopia? Of course he does. And there's also a lot of flaws with being in a flawless place. But I thought it was a really for a kid show, and I don't even want to say that. It was very deep and complex conversation that they were having, and it was two kids having the conversation. This episode was also directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Shiner, who are the directors behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. Great filmmaking on display as well. They're two really awesome transition shots. Like the one standout for me was when Jude Law says, "You can just shoot me," and then they cut to the kids practicing. I thought that was a lot of fun, meeting new people. I think a lot of this is just a breath of fresh air for Star Wars. I think a lot of people like me have been clamoring for let's get away from the episodic films and tell new stories. And even though I don't think the advertising for this show did it any justice, 'cause I was not even close to being excited. I honestly I'm falling in love with this show. I think all four kids are interesting. Fern getting her little moment with Wim in this episode. Obviously, Neil is my MVP of this series. I thought this was Jude Law's best episode where you can kind of see his slimy nature, but he does seem, at least in this episode, to care about the kids. He saves the kids and he wants them to be well, but obviously he's acted the treasure on their home planet. I love the droid. I love SM-33. The cast is fantastic. It's adorable. It's delightful. It's a breeze of like a 35-minute show. I think this is like the perfect thing, honestly, for Star Wars to come out from a quality perspective. I wish more people were talking about it it feels like the people who are watching it are digging it, but it doesn't seem like there's enough people talking about the show. So I'm here to keep talking about Skeleton Crew every single week here on the channel. So please subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. I'll be back next Wednesday breaking down another episode of The Skeleton Crew.